Kill me, I'm here! Kill me!
Hey everybody, this is Neither Movies coming at you with my review of Apt Pupil, the 1998 Stephen King adaptation. And for those of you who don't know anything about this movie, which I think there's probably a lot of people, this movie really flew under the radar, much to my surprise. It was directed by Bryan Singer, a gentleman who's best known for directing movies like The Usual Suspect and many of the X-Men films. And it stars Brad Renfro, the kid from The Client, and several other indie movies like Bully, and Ian McKellen, of course, the famed actor from the Lord of the Rings series, plays Magneto. It's just an incredibly talented performer, and both of them, the two main stars of this movie, do an incredible job of this movie. And also, it has a cameo by Elias Koteas, the actor with the funnest name to say, who is best known for playing Casey Jones in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And you know, I'm not even gonna pretend like I didn't just throw that in there just so I could have the fun of saying Elias Koteas, because Elias Koteas is just a really fun name to say. I mean, if you're watching this now, give it a try, Elias Koteas. That's just a fun time. Anyways, so what this movie is about is Brad Renfro plays a character who is in high school, and he's kind of got some interesting thoughts on the world, and basically he starts doing research for a project on World War II, and he's looking into like the death camps. And you know, I think it's a really interesting concept, just from the beginning there, the germ of the idea, because I personally went through a period of time in my teens and early 20s where, you know, I first became really aware of what had happened in World War II, and I was absolutely fascinated by it to the point where I did a lot of research and I looked into it to a great deal, to great detail, and found out things that I think a lot of people are unaware of. And you know, even to this day, I find the subject fascinating, because it's so horrifying, and the idea that human beings were capable of doing those kinds of things is, and especially on such a like mass organized level. So I could really identify with his character looking into that. And but from there, there's this schism, which is basically he starts doing things that I couldn't identify but with whatsoever. But the fact that it all kind of started off in a way that I think a period that a lot of people who are interested in history go through with, is really cool, because it kind of couches this in this relatable idea. So what happens next? The part that's I found incredibly unrelatable, but also really fascinating, and that germ of relatability at the beginning kept me in that mindset, was he puts together that basically a local old timer is actually a former Nazi war criminal, and one that was in charge of some of the death camps, and he decides to go and interview him because he wants to understand firsthand, as best he can, what it was like to be somebody in that position, and what allowed him to do those horrific things, and also what it felt like to do them. And so he goes and he knocks on the war criminals, played by Ian McKellen. He goes and knocks on his door, and he blackmails him into this series of interviews by threatening to uncover him to the authorities. And it just goes from there, and it's these series of conversations between the two of them, and also a series of escalating incidences between them. Like, one that comes fairly early on is he, in his attempts to try to put himself in that mindset and really see what Ian McKellen was like back then, he decides to go online and he gets a reproduction of the uniform that Ian McKellen's character would have been wearing at the time, and he forces him to put it on, and then it forces him to start doing like the strutting around like he would have in costume. And Ian McKellen's character starts actually getting into it and going back to that militant world, and it goes from this kind of meek character, like hunched over, to all of a sudden a much more upright and fearsome figure, and it scares Renfro, and it just kind of goes from there. There's all these escalating instances, and it all comes to a head in this this perfect cat and mouse between the two of them, where Ian McKellen the entire time is trying to get out from underneath the thumb of this kid because he doesn't like anybody having authority over him in that regard, and he also doesn't like the peril that this kid has put him in because he could realistically uncover him at any given time, and the way in which they try to keep an upper hand on one another, and where it goes from there is just really interesting, and it's just such a great story because it has a lot of the power struggles of, like, some of the movies like the spy thrillers and stuff like that, but it's all very intimate and all takes place between in this one house, and it's just really fascinating film that I think is exceptionally well done and just really good. So those are my thoughts on Apt Pupil. Let me know in the comments below if you've heard of this movie, if you've read the book. I never read the book, and I kind of regret that because I feel like it would have been a great read. I believe it's the novella. But either way, if you've read the story, let me know in the comments below. If you've seen the film, let me know. If you think the concept sounds interesting, which I don't know how people could not find that concept interesting, other than not being a fan of horror or having any interest in history, I suppose. Other than that, please hit that like button. It does awesome things for my channel. It makes it much more possible that my videos will be put in front of people that otherwise would never have seen them. And please, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. I love talking to you guys about movies, and that will hopefully be able to bring you back in so you can watch more of my videos, and that would absolutely mean the world to me because I love hearing your opinions and I love having people here to hear mine. So other than that, have yourself a great day.